The prison on Varnock. 7 was known as the Maw, a jagged fortress buried beneath the surface of a cold, dead moon. Only the most dangerous creatures were kept there. And in the deepest chamber of all, behind plasma-forged doors and containment fields, lived a monster the guards didn't speak by name. They just called it the Dragon. A creature of wings and flame, captured in a war that had ended decades ago, but never tamed. It had devoured every prisoner ever thrown into its cell, burned, crushed, or simply torn apart. So when the Varnokians captured a lone human operative during a border raid, they didn't waste time with questions. They laughed and threw him into the Dragon's cell. The guards were still laughing when the door sealed shut behind him. No armor, no implants, just soft hair and skin. One snorted. "He'll last a minute," said another. But they were wrong. He didn't last a minute. He lasted longer. Much longer. Inside the vast dark cell, the heat was suffocating. Steam hissed from cracks in the walls. The floor trembled with every breath of the thing hidden in the shadows. The man stood still, breathing slowly. His hands were bound, his face bloodied, his uniform torn, but his eyes were clear, focused. A low growl echoed from the dark. Then came the glow, eyes like molten gold. The dragon stepped into view. Its wings scraped the walls. Its claws dug lines into the metal floor. Fire danced between its jaws. The man looked up at it and did something unexpected. He smiled. "About time," he muttered. "I was starting to think you were just a myth." The dragon paused. No fear, no screaming, just calm defiance. That hadn't happened before. Ever. The guards watched through the surveillance feed, at first amused, then confused, then uneasy. "What's he doing?" One whispered. "He's talking to it. He should be ashes." But the dragon hadn't moved. It just stared at the man. Inside the cell, the man stepped forward, chains rattling. I thought they'd throw me in some pit. Instead, they gave me a reunion. He dropped to one knee. "You remember me, don't you?" The dragon's nostrils flared. Smoke curled around its snout. Then it let out a deep, low sound, not a growl, a rumble. Familiar. The man stood. "They don't know, do they?" he said softly. "They don't know who I am, or who you are." 20 years earlier, the human military had operated a secret program, Project Vindicate, a last-ditch initiative during the First Interstellar War. The mission, raise and bond with bioengineered dragon-like creatures built from captured alien genomes. Only one pairing succeeded. Unit 6, Operative Callan Reese, and a dragon designated as Solvax. Together, they burned enemy warships from orbit, brought whole colonies to surrender, until the project was shut down, the bond severed in war. Solvax was captured, and Callan Reese disappeared. Until now. "You've grown," Callan said, his voice steady. Solvax let out a quiet huff, recognition in his golden eyes. Callan stepped closer. "I never stopped looking. Thought you were dead." The dragon lowered his head. Gently, their foreheads touched. The guards went silent. The lead warden gritted his teeth. "Cut the feed. Now!" They came for Callan an hour later, armed with shock rifles and gravity nets. Solvax bared his fangs, wings rising. Callan raised a hand. "Easy, boy. Not yet." He turned to the guards, smiling coldly. "Took you long enough." They dragged him back to a private chamber. The warden general of Varnock himself waited. "You're not a soldier," the warden said. "You're something else." Callan didn't respond. "You bonded with that beast." Still no response. The warden's voice grew harder. "Tell us how you control it, or we'll dissect you both." Callan looked up, eyes hard. "You can't control a dragon." He leaned forward. "You earn it. They tried torture, bribes, threats. Nothing worked. And all the while, Salvax refused to eat, refused to move. He waited and waited until the night came. The night Callan broke free. No one ever found out how. One moment, the cameras showed Callan chained in his cell. The next, static. When the feed returned, the door to Salvax's chamber was open, and both of them were gone. The first explosion rocked the east corridor. The second took out the comm tower. By the time the guards reached the hangar, the blast doors were melting. A shadow erupted from the smoke. Salvax, wings spread wide, flames pouring from his jaws. On his back rode Callan, one hand gripping the saddle ring welded to the dragon's armor years ago. The soldiers opened fire. It didn't matter. They burned. Later, from orbit, survivors watched a single streak into the stars. Man and dragon reunited. Free again. The Varnokian Dominion tried to spin it as a malfunction, a rogue prisoner, a failed experiment. But the galaxy saw the footage. A human standing fearless before a dragon, whispering to it, bonding with it, flying with it. And they remembered his name. Callan Reese, the last dragon knight of Earth. And somewhere in the stars, aboard a cloak vessel, the man who was thrown into a death cell sat beside his old companion, cleaning plasma burns from Salvax's wing. "Guess we're not done yet," he muttered. Salvax rumbled. "No," Callan smiled. "We've only just begun."